Okay, my name is Prateek. I work at the HubSpot EMEA headquarters in Dublin. I look after the Middle East and Africa market, uh, Israel being one of the few countries where I show up quite regularly for a very good reason. So, I'm going to talk about the sales side of things and how marketing plugs in with that, and why a personalized sales experience or a sales process is a much, much, much better option for marketers to have. In most companies, the sales and marketing teams are completely separate. The sales director is a separate entity. He's got his own P&L goals. Marketing director or the CMO has other challenges. For startups, it's combined, but it's not really integrated. So we're going to look at some common challenges, and we can look at how can marketing help with implementing a more personalized sales experience. So before I get into that, since he spoke about bringing me here, regularly and bringing me Tel Aviv specifically, this specific time, and Gary's going to vouch for it. We were sitting in the flight. The flight was delayed. I've been watching a lot of content about things to do in Tel Aviv. Um, is anybody familiar with this restaurant called Dr. Shakshuka? Um, so there I was. I think they have done a phenomenal job with their marketing. You go on National Geographic, you see the doctor standing right there, skilling kebabs. You go on TripAdvisor, you go on any single damn thing. I was this close to asking the flight crew for shakshuka. I was like, "Do you have shakshuka?" Of course they didn't, but so there I was, fully pumped, and I was like, "I'm a patient. Take me to my doctor. I need to go now." We land at Tel Aviv airport. I sent Gary to the hotel. I'm like, "I'm going to Jaffa." So I've done all my research. I knew exactly what I wanted from my awareness stage, my consideration stage, to my decision stage. I went through all of those, three stages within an hour. I had all the information I needed. Went to Dr. Shakshuka. Sales guy shows up, who's a waiter in this case. Now, this is where the personalization could have kicked in. I was on their website, I was on their TripAdvisor. I read 3 million reviews in 3 hours, every single review about them. I knew all of their entire menu by heart, but I'm a vegetarian. So, not a vegan. Don't, don't judge me. I'm just a vegetarian. I show up at Dr. Shakshuka, and this guy tries to sell me the fish. Because that's where the highest margin is, and he wants me to eat fish. I'm like, let me rephrase this. I don't eat fish or meat. Can I get the standard, regular, boring shakshuka? Like, 15 minutes later, I leave without ordering because they've been pushing stuff that I don't want to eat. And he's like, "What do you want to drink?" I'm like, "Yeah, just like he wants to like me to order something special that's more expensive." This is a very classic example of where the marketing has done a phenomenal job. They pushed me through all the three phases of a buying process very, very quickly, but the sales did not execute. They did not have the information, the personalized information to close this sale. Imagine if that waiter knew that there's a guy on TK249 arriving at 12:50. He's booked a table for 7 o'clock, and he's a vegetarian. I walk in, he's like, "Hey, Pratik, come, your vegetarian shakshuka is ready." Imagine the cross-selling opportunities. I take Perry and Gary there next day. Upsell, cross-sell, resell, everything happens. So, just going by that example, do you think marketing in this case could have facilitated this transaction? Just to get a sample of the room, how many people in the room are marketing? Okay, so it's a fair question then. And what's the breakdown of any sales guys here? Or am I the only one? Oh, hi guys. Um, so do you think marketing could have facilitated this transaction? This should have been a relatively easy sale. Most companies, in this case, since we're sticking with a restaurant probably gets 500 phone calls a day. But those 500 phone calls only ask 15 questions. What time do you open? What time do you close? Do you have a table? Do you have a table that looks onto the sea? Can I come now? What's your menu? Do you offer Sodexo cards? 15 questions. All of this could be fixed without somebody answering those 500 calls. Have a bot answer all of these FAQs, create an FAQ page, create a system where all of this can be taken care of by automation. Would sales do it? No. They love walking up to tables and selling them the most expensive thing. This is marketing's job, and you can facilitate transactions for sales. Could this sale or this experience have been more personalized? Yeah, create backlinks. If you've got so many reviews, if you've got online presence, insert call to actions, insert links there where I could have booked a table straight away from a TripAdvisor review. So all of that could be done, but it was not. So I just thought I'm gonna start my little story today with another story of Dr. Shakshuka and how I slept hungry that night. The fundamental idea in the sales process is that people buy from people they trust. It's as simple as that. You guys are in marketing, you run a lot of nurturing campaigns, you do a lot of transactional emails, you do a lot of information. Have you ever received email like this? Hi, user. How many of you have received an email where you were called a user or hi there? We've all received these. We don't remember them because we delete them straight away. When you run your most sophisticated nurturing campaign and it starts with hi user or it doesn't involve a personalized message, you think you've done a great job. You know what it looks like to a recipient? This is what it looks like. This is what they're reading. You have just won £2 million. Click here to claim it. That's they're both in the same category. So personalized sales experience starts with basic information. Before we go super advanced and we look at uh, behavior and demographics and all of that, fix the basics. Really helps the sales team. I work in sales and I come across this challenge quite a lot. The struggle is sales teams with a lot of members, and if there's no formal sales allocation system, they will struggle. Now, I want you all to ask yourself this question. If you have a sales team, even if it's two people, you could have the most expensive, most elaborate CRM system, automation system in the world, where your calls are being logged. But ask yourself this: if sales rep number two gets an account from another sales rep who's been working a deal for 6 months, and it says call logged 6 months ago, does he really know what the call was all about? The call is logged, but there is no context. Is there anybody in the room who's got a system in place where sales rep number two is getting the history of the call or is getting the context? Anybody who could share some best practices? Okay, so that please.
Today. We tried to implement that in twice with customers, but it just didn't get to execution right. It was a problem with the people, with our actually our service that we could not explain very well why it's so important. Why it's so important when you change the sales team, know the history.
I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Sales guys hate logging stuff. I'm one of them. You've got to get a system where the things that they do log themselves. You have to make it seamless. If I have to make an effort to log into a CRM and say, I spoke to this guy for 25 minutes today, it was a really meaningful conversation, I'll type that and I'll delete it. I'm like, forget about it. I'm not logging anything. Okay, so yeah,
There's also no sales. There's no incentive for sales guys, right? It's the sale. So if you're going to pass it on to someone else, you already have that history memorized, and it's your account. So there's no incentive. 10% is a nice idea, but there's no financial incentive.
exactly. So whether it's the lack of incentive, the lack of will, or the simple fact that it's time consuming, this will remain a challenge. The only way you can remove this challenge is by automating the process where if they're sending an email, if they're making a phone call, it's getting logged and recorded on its own. And I'm not even joking. I have come across accounts and I've come across leads from other sales guys where, a contact was touched upon a year ago. They had a long call. All I see on the record was 60-minute phone call. He was a nice guy. How am I supposed to complete a sale with he was a nice guy? Like, send him a proposal for, like, get married to my sisters? I don't know. Like, just this really resonates with me. So, Liam Neeson pretty much explains what I felt at that moment. With HubSpot, we've got a sales tool which has got an inbuilt calling within the CRM. You can call your contacts from within the CRM, and their caller ID would show your phone number. You have the option to record the calls and keep the recording for internal audit, for the next sales guy, if the sales guy churns, if he gets promoted, if another guy takes over the account, you have the exact information that is required to close that sale or to maintain that relationship. Sure. Uh, do your demos run online? Okay, so normally what a lot of people do is that they have a demo form, which is internal. Every demo has 5 or 6 parameters on which its success or failure can be determined. Did my prospect understand the technology? Do they, by the end of the demo, do they actually need what I'm selling? Do they have the budget? Is there a follow up? Is the technical team involved? Or is this moving to the negotiation phase? Even if they can fill these 5 during a demo, that leaves a very good uh, reference for your next sales guy to know, okay, the demo went well, but oh, hang on, what do I see here in the notes from the demo? It says, understood the product, but he's not the decision maker, or did not understand, or everything checks, they don't need our product. So he's going to be very careful in the next phone call and waste as little calories as possible on that account. So that's something basic that you can start right after this hug session today. Just a one pager interface with 5 sections. The second one, this is quite real as well. HubSpot's research survey of salespeople revealed that more than half of them rely on their peers to get tips for improving. 44% look to their manager, 35% to team training, and 24% to external media. Why is that? Because in an ideal world, the sales and marketing teams should be working together. This help should be coming not just from all of these external sources or just your manager. The sales process itself should be evolving. Now, again, going back to you guys, ask yourself, what tools or resources have you provided as a marketing team or as an organization to your sales team to know what's working and what's not working, and how can they consistently improve their sales process? If anybody of you has done sales ever, you keep trying different things. You try and you try and small talk on a cold call. Sometimes you go straight to the point. You try and see what's working and what's not working. If you can adopt technology in this process, and you can give your sales guys the option to have 5 different ways of selling, and they can actually measure which one's working and which one's not. And every single day they come to work, they know what's the success rate of which of them, and then continuously improve their sales process without looking at media, without approaching their manager or, harassing people at the coffee machine. If you could do that, you'd see that their conversion rates, their close rates over a period of time would significantly improve. The tool in HubSpot called Sequences, where you can build a sales sequence, and this is customized, and every sales rep can build their own set of sequences. My opening pitch or my opening email is going to be like this, depending on the success of the fit. So I've got 5 different sequences that I try. At the end of the week, I look at which of my sequences was most successful. And next week, I try and enroll similar people in that sequence. Over a period of 6 months, my closing rate has significantly improved. The third struggle, and this is, I think this kind of connects to Dr. Shakshuka as well. Sure, yeah. If they give you access to their sequences, you can. So just make sure you have lunch or coffee with them and you'll be able to see. So Drift tested the response time of 433 companies. Only 7% of them responded in the first 5 minutes. More than half of them did not respond for 5 business days. I see this as a major problem because somebody filling up the form is the dream. It's like a dream sequence for the marketing team. That's exactly what you want. You want anonymous strangers to come, read your content, get interested in your products or services, and then fill a form and become a contact. But all of this effort is going to waste if nobody even calls them for 5 days. That's a wasted lead. You wasted time, effort, money, content, everything you can think of. Where can marketing come in? Now, again, when you look at your organization right now, what SLA structure exists between sales and marketing, if there is one at all? If you're in an organization that's global or that is aiming to be global, do you have sales reps that are defined based on their specialization, product, language skills, geography? If you have multiple products, there are different product experts. Do you have a system where if somebody becomes a contact or expresses interest in a specific product that you have or is from a specific country, is it going to the right sales rep? Is it going quickly enough? And because I can, without asking anyone, tell you what's happening in majority of the companies. Sales is giving all the crap to marketing and saying, marketing is not doing its job. The leads are bad. They're not high quality. There's not enough leads. So there's a one-way pressure. Marketing gets a lot of pressure. This is your only chance to go back to sales and say, how about we get an SLA where if marketing provides you with a lead, you have to action it within 24 hours. We can do all we want, but if you're not calling, if you're not actioning a lead, all of our efforts are going to waste. We're happy to provide you with leads on the condition that we need an SLA that you would action these leads, and these leads are going to go to the right sales rep. This is where sales automation comes in. We're all very familiar with marketing automation and auto emails and pricing page notifications, but sales automation is identifying which sales rep internally is the best fit for a lead. If somebody speaks Spanish and a guy from Spain fills in the form, that lead needs to go to him and not to the guy who speaks German, because there's a mismatch. These are things marketing teams don't touch because it's somebody else's feet and you don't want to step on them. It's the sales director's job. But if sales is not closing, this will come back to you as marketing is not doing its job. Company is not making enough money from the leads. With HubSpot, with the sales tools, with the sales automation, this part can be fixed. All of this can be automated and it plugs in seamlessly with the marketing. The first 10 minutes are golden. I can come back to you. I don't want to quote a number that's. I'm a sales guy. I should be able to give you a fake number, but I'm not going to do that. Uh, but yeah, I'll come back to you in those. But it was significantly. I think it's at least 3 times higher than the others. The first 20 minutes are like absolutely golden, if because people are still on your site, they're still reading your content. You're on the top of their head. So if you can get through during that time, it's a much higher conversion rate. Now, this is another struggle. This is irrespective of whether you're procurement, marketing, sales, whatever department you're in, the back and forth. There's a lot of back and forth. Does 2 p.m. tomorrow work for you? No, it doesn't. Does 3 p.m. work for you? No, it doesn't. How about 5? How about next week? How about 2020? Like, just frustrated by the end of it. This happens a lot of time. I'm sure a lot of you are already using tools that fix this. It's a calendar link, but that only serves half the problem. That only gets someone to book time on your calendar. How do you set an agenda when somebody's booking time in your calendar? It's very simple. It's not rocket science. We haven't reinvented the wheel. So you're using all of this, but unless you're a lover of mystery novels, I would seriously encourage getting an agenda every time somebody books a meeting with you. It gives you context of what the call is about. It'll give you enough time to prep. That is 30 minutes enough for this. For example, he mentioned, the gentleman there, about the demo. If somebody's booking time for a demo and they've booked 30 minutes, it's not sufficient. You can get back to them and tell them, can you book an hour? We're going to need an hour. And you know exactly what the call will be all about. I don't know if it's on the. I don't think I added it. Last week, somebody booked time in my calendar, and it was somebody from Ghana, and they booked 30 minutes on my calendar, and that forced me to make a change to my calendar. I got on a call with them. It was an official, HubSpot communication and everything. His only question was, I was just curious if you're related to Robin Sharma, who wrote The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, because I have the same last name. If I had the agenda set, those are 30 minutes of my life I'm not getting back. I could have saved that. This is how my calendar looks now. How long do you need? It's synced directly with my Gmail calendar, so it's all real time. Judge me all you want. It's really cliched, but one of the mandatory questions when you're booking time with me is one marketing or sales challenge that keeps you awake at night. Unless you fill this section, you can't book time in my calendar. This is a really good qualifier for me. A lot of times people book time, and if it's like absolute nonsense, like, hi, I was just thinking if I can meet you tomorrow for a drink. No, I free up my time. I don't want people to block my time. Is anybody in the room as of today? I know like a lot of you are using calendar tools. Is anybody setting an agenda for meetings? Perfect. So what's my conversion rate here? 0.2? Okay, so there's one person. Okay, so this, again, very standard HubSpot feature. Not just with Gmail and Outlook. If you're using Zoho Calendar, Yahoo Calendar, we've upgraded our meetings link, and it will plug in with most of the calendars that exist as of now. Now, this is more revenue focused. The struggle is there's too many moving parts, and this is more true for larger organizations. There's too many moving parts. You've got your sales, and you've got your procurement and marketing. How do you make sure that the purchase process for your customer or your prospect is seamless? Again, ask yourself this question. Does your sales guy have the ability to offer someone a payment link or a quote while they're still on the call, or they're sitting in a meeting with them? Or do they have to contact finance or go through a complicated ERP system where they raise a quote, or it has to come from IT? Going back to what you mentioned, the first 15 minutes of things being fresh. If I'm a sales guy and I'm engaged with you and you're like, spot on, I love the product, I'll buy it. And then I tell you, I'll come back to you in 2 days after I speak to finance with a payment link. You might change your mind. Israel, you might find a cousin who knows someone who can get it cheaper. So there's a big possibility you lose that deal. There is a chance that creeps in. People sleep over things, or there's something always creeps in. You need to give your salespeople the flexibility to offer a personalized quote or the ability to collect payments straight away. This is all the more important for startups because you're more lean. You need to get things done quickly. A lot of your products are online. How many people here with your organizations are you collecting payments online, or there's an online billing system? Okay, so you clearly know the advantages. It's a self checkout. People like your product, they put in the credit card or they request an invoice and they buy online. With HubSpot CRM system, we've got a tool called Quotes, which is part of the sales. You'd be able to issue payment links from within the CRM. So this is relatively new. Your sales guy, not only is he recording calls, not only he's got the best sales process, if he does close someone, he'd be able to send a payment link straight away, which significantly reduces your sales cycle. So that's Dollar Man. He's a distant cousin of Superman. He's only stands on top of buildings where there's a lot of corporate offices. Is everybody familiar with terms like sales rock star, sales superstar? You go on LinkedIn and it's like needed sales rock stars, needed sales superstars, sales top performer and everything. That's you, by the way. Have you ever felt sad that organizations don't have marketing rock stars? Does anybody have work in an organization where there are marketing rock stars, or they're like, everybody high fives the marketing guy on the way, the water cooler, like, hey, yeah, you're the best. And they do it with sales guys, but have you ever wondered why? Okay, I'm going to leave that for Perry. There's a very significant piece. He's going to talk about the marketing piece, but there's a significant piece that's missing in the marketing value chain, why marketing is not considered rock stars, and how we can bring that transformation to make sure that marketing guys can look up and stop playing with the ball. Yeah, so thank you for attending the Hug today. You can send any feedbacks, any questions, and most importantly, if you have any shakshuka recipes, that's my email address right there. And for all the tools that we discussed, I spoke about 4 common challenges. There's more that HubSpot sales can do. I'll be in the room next door. I'll be outside. If you guys would like to take a look, just ask about it, have questions. I'm happy to speak to all of you. Thank you.